Anderson.
And I met him at our local lumber store, and I started asking questions. One thing led to another, and you do something really interesting. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Where did you retire from?
I work in the oil fields of Alaska.
Oil fields doing what?
Maintaining and building equipment for the drilling industry, and that takes place in the North Slope of Alaska.
So you do something really neat right now. What are you doing? You retired to do your passion. What is this? This like this big tower here. What's it do?
This is a column for a solar array. So I'm going to bury, of course, you can see I got the rebar on it.
Okay.
So I'm going to bury it down 5 feet, so that I actually have 7 feet above ground level, and then on top of that I'll mount a motorized mechanism that tracks the sun, which allows us to collect more solar power. So
this is tracking, so we get all the sun.
Yes.
And we don't just
So
get
we
it at
start
one
at
point.
the east,
Okay.
and as the sun comes up and moves across the horizon and sets in the west, the rays are looking at it. So that's what I do.
How did you get into that?
My first array, and we'll take a look at that after a while, was just a fixed array. And it was done because I was bored of sitting in the house and watching TV. And I decided I needed something to do, and I worked out that little, and we'll see it in a little bit, there's a garage.
Okay.
And every time I worked on something in the garage, I had to take it out. I had to take the cars out
Okay.
and work on what I was working on, and at night I had to put the cars in because my wife does not like snow on her vehicles.
Okay.
So, but long story short, I built the first array, which was just a small 2,500 watt array.
And you figured out how to do this on your own.
Well, yeah, I have a background in doing a lot of things on my own.
You're pretty smart, aren't you?
Somebody paid me a lot of money to be like this. So like I say, I started in the oil industry and just as a mechanic and a welder, and then grew up, my career advanced.
Okay.
And I moved into management, and then I moved into engineering projects. And that was fun until I got tired of getting on airplanes.
We can give the information. You say that if somebody wants to talk to you about maybe doing some along this line, they can.
Right.
And I'll post it somehow. I'll figure out how to get it on there so they can freeze it and look at it on the video.
I will say this. If you attempt to contact me on a number I do not recognize, I will not answer it. But if you want to talk to me, leave a message.
Right. Do you do texting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so would it be okay for them to text to say, hey, I'm interested?
Yeah.
And then you
That's
can...
fine. This is where I do the most of my work.
Okay.
And after all these pieces are built, they're all built in here and they're taken outside.
Do you make that tube yourself? You weld it up, or do you get that prefab?
Oh, quit.
I don't know.
No,
What would you do?
no, I don't buy anything prefab.
What are you making that tube out of?
Well, that's 8-inch pipe, and what that is basically that's remnants of other pipes that I've put in the ground for other people and other solar array columns. These are drops. In other words, they were too long for their projects. I cut them off, and when I got time,
You weld up. You've got to be a welder.
Oh yes.
You got plasma cutter and all that
I
stuff,
got
don't
plasma cutter, I got welders.
you? You got machine shop stuff, don't you?
I got stuff.
We're going to talk a little bit more about what the components are behind this, because this is the ones that will actually track with the sun, right?
Right. These actually track. Okay, so here's what we got. I have a battery in here.
Okay.
And that's charged by that small single solar panel. And what the battery does, it actually supplies power for these electric, they're actuators. And what they do is, now, these basically, let's think of it like this. This is the muscle.
Okay.
That's the brain.
Way down there. Okay,
Way
yeah.
down here, way down here, I see it. There's light sensors, and it tells you where the sun is at. These light sensors are following the sun.
Okay.
Okay, the brain tells the muscle to move. The muscle moves towards the sun.
So how much would all this cost just without the solar panels?
I've been selling these for $4,000 without the solar panels.
So the tower and all that stuff.
Yeah. Without the solar panels, and what they'll end up doing, they tell me what size solar panels they're going to put on it, and then I build a frame to fit it.
And you make metal frames, because these things will last.
Yes.
What do you do about all the high winds? What if we get a 30, 40 mile an hour wind? Can we like put this so it will face the wind or something so it won't bust up? Or
Yes, you can. You can actually, in fact, my newest design, which you don't see in here, the actual one, so there's a anemometer. When the wind gets too high, it goes flat.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Where is it? And so you can't see, but you.
I don't have one on the place because I don't see. I don't have
Okay,
to.
so is this something you can do remotely inside with the wind? Say, hey, I want it to go flat so the shear doesn't.
Well, yeah, but what if you're not home? So.
Oh, you
actually,
make it sense it.
Yeah.
So much wind, it'll automatically go flat.
Yeah, you actually have an anemometer with that little cup
That
that
makes
spins in the
sense to
wind.
me. Yeah.
It goes like that. The same thing at night. I mean, we got them now where they go flat at night.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't have to worry about the wind coming over. It's just automatic. At night, when it gets dark, zoop, they go flat.
So obviously, prices are going to vary, but does that price include you digging a hole in the ground and putting this thing in place?
No, that's
This
my
is just
component.
it.
Yeah,
But
you have to get the ground ready for yourself, and you have to pay for the concrete. But this, for the metal components, they're $4,000 a piece,
And so these, wow.
and it tracks about whenever it needs to. It uses about every 3 minutes or so if it needs to move any.
So can you buy your panels from anybody then?
Yeah.
Or you there's a lot of providers out
There's
there.
a lot of providers. There's a lot of solar outfits that are selling different components. I advise you to shop around because it changes all the time. They're just like buying a computer.
Yeah, the latest and the greatest. What's the next
some
thing?
are on sale at one place and they're not on sale at another.
Do you have any idea what the longevity of something like those things would run?
Well, I know that there's some that's been on the market and producing for 25 years.
Well, those were the newer ones. That's like newer cars. Well, what about the older ones? So will the newer ones hold up for 25?
The newer ones are actually better. So here's what people need to remember.
Okay.
The sun comes to the solar panels, and it's producing DC power, direct current.
Okay.
Which direct current can be stored, but it comes into here. These are charge controllers. It comes here first from the solar arrays. So this will actually make sure that the batteries are all charged. So it makes these are all topped off, and then after the batteries are charged, and it has, of course, there's little computers in there basically.
Okay.
And once they're all charged, then it turns that excess power into AC power right here.
Is that called inverters?
These are inverters. Yes, it turns DC to AC. These are inverters.
That seems archaic. Isn't there a better way of doing this?
Well, what they do it, and the advantage of doing it this way, if you were to use DC power on everything, you'd have great big cables to get power to where you're at.
Okay.
Well, when you turn it to AC and you jack the voltage up, you can really reduce the size of that cable.
Okay.
Now here's what happens. It goes through here. Here's basically some breakers. If anything goes awry, the breakers will flip. But this tells me right here, once it goes through here, like this, it goes through here, which tells me, gives me a meter. And you can't see it from there, but the arrow is going out of the way. In other words, I'm selling power to the grid.
Okay. Let's talk about the batteries. I mean, isn't there any better batteries that you can...
Oh, there are. There's a lot of batteries, but there again, it's a matter of what you can afford.
Yeah.
When I started, like everybody, I got a limited amount of money. I can't just do everything. But this is sufficient for us. And what I use these batteries for is when the grid goes down at night, or any time. Mainly at night was my concern because I sleep with a CPAP.
Yeah.
If that power goes down, guess what?
You don't get to sleep.
I don't get to sleep. And if you're dependent on oxygen, if you have to have an oxygen generator, you don't get to breathe. There's a lot of people that have to have reliable AC sources.
Okay, so let's talk about cost here. So you've got your little Flex Mix or Max or whatever.
These are charge controllers. They're 80-amp charge controllers, and they limit the amount of power coming in so that you don't cook anything. I'm going to say it so you don't overcook the batteries.
So how much is that going to run about this
Okay,
average?
let me just say that this whole package right here.
All of that stuff.
The
brains.
unit, the two inverters, this part over here, the breakers.
Flex must be the brand name.
I'm sorry?
Is that Flex a brand name?
Outback is the brand name.
Oh, but Flex is another.
This part of the Outback system.
The
So
Outback
they
system.
sell this whole system.
But you're not doing an info commercial for them. You're just saying this is
Right.
what you use.
This is what I use. There's a lot of different uses.
So what do you think that would cost if you had guesstimate?
I paid $6,500 for this. I mean, that was what, 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Okay, so people are saying, well, that's a lot of money. I could have that's a matter of having electricity
Right.
for you, especially out in the rural side.
And you know, there's different systems. You can go off grid. If you go off grid, you got to have a lot more batteries. So you have to make a little bit of.
This is like a kinda.
This is what they call a grid-tied interactive system. There's some systems don't have any batteries, but when the grid goes down, you don't have any power. As soon as the grid goes down, you lose your power. If it's a grid-tied system only with no battery backup.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. This is my horizontal spar. This fits on top of that pole of that column it was inside.
Uh-huh.
There's a gearbox between the two. There's a gearbox that's on top of that pole. This bolts to the gearbox, which lets it turn. All right?
Okay.
Now, as you'll notice, this is in pieces. My first ones were built whole. I had to set them up there complete.
You had a crane come in.
I had a crane, which was a bother.
Yeah.
So it calls for a redesign. So wait, well, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
So now I've built it into three smaller components. This is half of the array.
Okay.
All right. There's the other half. Now, of course, the way I took it out of the shop is set up backwards, but that actually bolts to here. That flange there will bolt right here.
Okay.
Then you have one that's twice this wide, of course. And here's the pivot points, and they sit right in there. This is a chicken coop. This is so my chickens will be locked up when it gets dark. And they're in here all night, safe. I don't have to worry about something trying to get in the door.
Okay.
Because anyway. And when the sun comes up, I have a light sensor out here. That
You
senses
have a
the sun.
solar array, a solar panel.
Right. So you can't do that. I said, well, sure I can.
Well, why wouldn't you be able to?
So solar panel, charge controller, battery.
Yeah.
Powers all this other stuff. Here's a timer, a delayed timer for night. If I want to give them another 30 minutes before it comes down, I just set it at 30 minutes. It goes up to an hour. When it senses light, it opens.
Just a light sensor.
So now here, there's this little amber light right here.
Yeah.
When it's dark, I can look out my bedroom window and say, oh, okay, the light's down, the door's down, because that light turns on.
You ever locked in a weasel or anything like that?
No.
Nobody comes in.